Good morning and welcome to Breakfast Extra for another Saturday morning. And yes, Nigeria, Africa, the world. So yesterday, another fake agency was discovered within the Nigerian presidency. And yes, we have another one. Now, at this point, perhaps the most important question is not what this latest fake agency was doing. Perhaps the most important question is how many more fake agencies could there be inside of the Nigerian presidency? Simple question, but complicated to answer. Because we now have at least four organizations that investigators have described as fake or fictitious. The latest is the National Brands Development and Made in Nigeria Special Project Office. Quite a name. And you know an organization is Nigerian when you hear National Development Special Projects all appearing before you get to the end of its name. But this one is particularly interesting and worrying, because according to ICPC, it was operating from the premises of the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. Talk about lurking in the corridors of power. That's exactly what this one was doing, inside the government, which means it leaves us with the obvious question, who gave the keys? The man identified by ICPC as its promoter is George Buchi Nwabweze, who also appears under several other names, including George Nathan Nwabweze and Prince George Buchi Nwabweze. Now, I went looking through the digital footprint of this organization personally myself, and I found something very fascinating. It had clearly put serious effort into looking like a government institution. How? There was a website. There were social media posts. There were conferences. There were international engagements. There were photographs, speeches, banners, reports. I mean, it looked like someone painfully actually put this together. It was actually quite painful to go through, but I did stick it out. I saw one of the conference material and, well, there were conferences, technically. At least there was chairs, there were microphones, there were people speaking, but some of them had the unmistakable feel of an organization working very hard to try and prove that it was an organization. It was almost a lesson in how to manufacture authenticity, or put national on a banner and give everybody one important title or the other, hold a conference, take photographs, publish the photographs on social media, and suddenly in Nigeria you have institutional history. Except apparently you don't have the most important thing, the legal authority to exist. And that is where things start being funny in Nigeria. Because this is not simply about one man and a collective of banners. It's about how something that allegedly did not legally exist managed to acquire the appearance of government. And now we have to ask the bigger question, how much of these kinds of arrangements are there? We know about the Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council, another big name. The investigation into that case reportedly uncovered 2 more fictitious agencies. Now we have 4 of these ones. But why assume that there's just 4 of these? What if these are simply the 4 that we have found? What if there are other phantom offices, committees, projects, or appointments quietly sitting inside of the machinery of the Nigerian government? It's a big question. And then there's the money. Because you see, the PFIPC, which government says did not legally exist, actually appeared inside of the 2026 budget with about 1.3 billion naira attached to it. ICPC says no federal government funds were actually approved or released to it. But the fact that a phantom organization could actually appear in a national budget should worry every single Nigerian. Because if something that does not legally exist can enter the budget, what else can? In fact, what else has? And if someone or some of these organizations have been operating for years, we need to know what they have cost us as the Nigerian people. Not just the money allocated, but the money spent, the salaries that would have been paid, allowances, there's travel, there's workshop, there's conferences that had to be made real, there's consultants, there's contracts. All of these little costs that can disappear into government paperwork needs to be investigated. So yes, investigate George Buchi Nwabweze, but please also investigate beyond George. Find out who gave the office, who recognized the organization, who approved the documents, who interacted with it and whom they interacted with, And most importantly, find out other fake agencies. Because 4 phantom agencies may be 4 scandals, but then again, it might be bigger than that. It may simply be just the 4 that we have caught. And if that's the case, the question is no longer, how did they fool the government? The question is now, how much did the government pay for this illusion?